Hello everyone and welcome back to another tutorial. So today you want to learn how to make some sand? Well, let's do it nice and easy. Firstly, let's start off by making a new material on a plane. Let's call it something crazy like sand. Then we're going to go down to our shader editor, move this over to the side, create a new texture, and let's create a noise texture. Nice and easy. Press Ctrl T. If you have the Node Wrangler add-on enabled, this will create a texture coordinate and mapping node automatically connected. Create a bump node, connect the noise factor to the height in the bump, connect the normal to the normal. Let's change the base color of the principled material to a sandy color, like, oh my God, I got that spot on first time. Wow, geez. Okay, anyway, so we have the sand color. Let's go over to the noise, play around with the scale, keep going, keep going. In fact, you know what? Let's just type in a number. Let's go 150, nice and easy. Cool. Looking pretty good. Now let's change the detail, bring that up to about 16, 15, 14. Play around with the roughness. And I mean, there you go, pretty much. It's pretty much there. Now, looking at these settings, basically the higher the roughness, the finer the detail on the sand. So once you've got your scale and detail settings sorted out, just change the roughness. If you go all the way up to 1, it's going to be super, super fine.
I don't know why it's coming out all loud and squeaky, because really, I'm fine.
If you go lower down, then you're going to get sort of larger grains of sand. So it all depends on how large the perspective you want the scale to be. I'm just playing around with the settings here just to show you the difference, but this is pretty much it. You've pretty much got your sand texture there, because all sand is just billions and billions of tons of tiny dots, and that's what we've turned this noise texture into. I'm just going to turn the scene lights on to look at this in material preview mode, play around with the color of the sand a little bit. No, let's see, that first one was so good. Okay, there we go. I'm happy with that color now. And just to show you as well, I'm going to create a UV sphere, and just to indicate how basically if we had a smooth shader and apply the sand, it's just going to work.
All of this just works. It's not, I'm not kidding.
Basically, whatever you apply it to, it is now going to work completely fine because it's a procedural texture. It's just, there's no UV mapping involved with it. It's all going to work no matter where you are. Let's quickly add ambient occlusion, bloom, and screen space reflection so that everything looks as it should. And there we go. It's looking pretty good. But now, the next stage, how do we make our sand look even better? Obviously, this is pretty good for just a flat surface, but how do we add a sense of scale and depth to this, add some waves and dunes to this? So what we're going to do, go to add texture, and we're going to add a wave texture. And we're just going to pop that above the noise texture here. I'm just going to plug it into the bump for now. Well, vector to vector, factor to height, just to show you what it actually looks like, what we're going to be playing with. There you go. So that's the texture that we're going to be adding. But what we're going to do is mix that with the noise texture. So go to add color mix, take the factor from the wave, plug it into color 1, factor from the noise, plug it into color 2, connect the color to the height and the roughness from the color of the mix. A lot of words, but hopefully that all made sense. Now, what that's doing is okay, but it looks a bit boring. It looks way too uniform. It looks way too unnatural. And if we bring the factor down to 0, we can see the noise texture in full. And yeah, that just looks boring. So let's play around with the distortion, play around with the detail, play around with the detail roughness, just to give it a bit more randomness. Yeah, play around with the settings, and now this is up to you in terms of the settings, and what we can do is bring the factor back up to blend those two together a bit more. And this is where it's completely up to you on how you want your sand to look, but you'll see already we're getting a bit more of a sort of overall natural blend of waves of sand, and then that detail from the noise texture is coming in, adding in the actual grains on top. And yeah, play around with the settings. You'll see here, bringing the factor up and down, that's looking really, really cool. These sort of gaps in between the lines as well. We play around with the height as well. It's just looking much more natural from a sort of high overhead shot. That's great. And remember everyone, this is 4 vertices on a single plane. There's no extra geometry being added here. It's just 4 points. And of course, this means that at a flat level, you're not going to see any depth to it, but from a height, if you're looking at it from far away, it's going to be absolutely perfect to save you on rendering loads of geometry. You're getting a really nice overhead texture. And that's it really. That's pretty much it. That's our sand texture. Play around with the factor on that mix as much as you want. Play around with the phase offset to position exactly where you want that to be. And again, if we had a UV sphere, pop that on top, add the same texture to it. There you go. Looking really, really cool. A lot of detail in there. Looks like a really nice little beach that we've got going on. And that is how you make a really easy procedural sand texture within Blender, just using a wave and a noise texture. Nice and easy. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. That'd be really handy. And I'll see you all in the next video.